This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on with us, and that is April Vass of OCD Wellness. What's going on, hon?
Hi, yeah, not much. I'm just on a podcast with a guy named Sean.
Very cool. Before we start, how was the long weekend?
It was good. Yeah, it went by fast. Had a lot of turkey with a lot of family members. So yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah, we kind of combined I have two younger sisters, so they all have significant others. And a part of my middle sister, her boyfriend, his family, including his sister who lives all the way down in Buffalo, ended up making the trek up. So I think we had 13 of us. We had, the big family dinner. We got blessed with the weather, which was great. So we had a little campfire, little backyard fire going on. We played some darts in the garage at the end of the night. So no complaints.
That sounds perfect. It's a lovely day.
Yeah, pretty much almost the definition of it. We were so shocked. The weatherman seems to get it wrong more than right. And in this case, we were really happy that they got it wrong from that perspective.
Yeah, I'm guessing you had yours on Sunday then? Would it have been?
We had ours on Sunday.
Yeah, we were watching because it was beautiful. It was set to be beautiful Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday was looking a little bad. But yeah, it turned out to be a very nice day.
So I think our listeners are chomping at the bit. Why don't we dive right into it? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, so my name's April, as he had mentioned. I'm a registered social worker with Ontario and New Brunswick, and I'm the owner of OCD Wellness. OCD Wellness is a therapy clinic that specializes in the disorders of obsessive compulsive disorder, treatments, and body-focused repetitive behaviors. Those are known as like skin picking, hair pulling, nail biting. And we also offer additional treatments for trauma, as we recognize OC doesn't travel alone. So we like to make sure that we're giving that umbrella support, but we certainly do specialize in OC. We like to embrace the unknown and the recognizing that like life is uncertain. So that's a big piece of the treatment and kind of our brand at OC Wellness. And we love using humor along the way when appropriate to help with that as well. And I know as the Good Neighbor podcast also sees as being very important, we too also recognize that being authentic and empathetic and respectful is a huge piece to us here at OC Wellness. And so all of our clinicians hold that as a big piece. We're located in Barrie, Cedar Point Drive as our main location, but we also offer in-person support in Collingwood, Ontario as well. And we offer virtual support across Ontario, New Brunswick, PEI, and Quebec. So we're trying to get out there as much as possible because also it's OC Awareness Week. So I'm going to scream that from the rooftops. So this podcast is perfectly timed. But there's just such a lack of resources and treatment and understanding of OCD. So we're trying to get out there as much as possible to help as many people as we can.
Very cool. So on the topic of education, you said it's kind of misunderstood. There needs to be more education out there. What would be maybe a couple of nuggets you could give us to educate our audience on some of this stuff?
Oh, geez, I'm such a nerd about this. I don't know if I can give you just a couple of nuggets. But I think the biggest thing is OC is not an objective. Like there's the whole obsessive Christmas disorder. There's the I'm so OCD because I like clean. And I think people just underestimate how damaging that can be for someone who experiences OC. I think just to give a general understanding, the World Health Organization recognizes OC as the 10th most disabling disorder or condition worldwide. So I think it truly is a monster that can ruin and take over lives and have people isolated in their homes. And it's much more than like the subtype of contamination or symmetry and compulsions of hand washing or checking or organizing. It can grab onto literally anything that you're scared of and try to control you with it. And so recognizing that we want to embrace the uncertainty of life and the unknown and try to take that control back from OCD. And I think the biggest part is that awareness and that education, that knowledge to say, it's much more than what we see in the media. It could be thoughts about harm or sexual thoughts or like hoarding or like anything that you can fear, the OC can grab onto. And we just want to be able to normalize that and recognize too that it's not, mental compulsions are a big piece as well. So people will often call out to us and say, I never realized this is what I was going through because I only ever did compulsions mentally. So compulsions are known as any mental or physical act we engage in to reduce the distress that we're feeling caused by the obsession of OCD. And so mental compulsions would be like ruminating, mental list making, mentally reviewing. So like a social interaction, you're trying to think back and like, did I embarrass myself? Did I inappropriately do something? Did I steal something? Like what all happened? Or so OC lives in the past and the future because it wants certainty. It wants to analyze or predict so that we can have more control. So anything you can think of is where OC can live. I think just spreading that awareness is really important.
So I know a lot of therapy from other guests we've had on the show. I've had to do this a few times. Different specializations. You're very specific to OCD, but I've heard some of this stuff is don't wait till you have a problem before you kind of go and seek help. Is like what component? Like I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking about myself. If I've got, I'm not crazy with some of this stuff, but I do like certain things in certain areas. At what point does somebody kind of as a thought jogger maybe to say, I might need to go and sit down and talk about how I can kind of navigate these areas?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think if someone's ever thinking like maybe I should go and talk to someone, I think that's a great time to start. Like it never hurts to just have a phone call, right? Like we do offer a 15-minute consultation, which is free of charge to our service. And so just even talking and sharing and we can kind of navigate that with you. And we offer, like, before we hop into any treatment, we do an assessment. So I think it never hurts to like test the waters and kind of see what works for you if you're like already questioning or thinking about that. But I think ultimately the big thing is to take a step back and saying, is this impacting my life in a way? Am I engaging in behaviors that I myself don't really want to be engaging in because I may be stressed or like having some sort of emotion that's kind of controlling me in a way? And if that's happening, then I think that's a good first like acknowledgement to say, maybe I should reach out and talk to somebody and navigate this. I think that's a great question.
Okay. Awesome stuff. So everybody's got their different, paths. Some people like to say they come out of the womb and they know that, hey, I'm going to be a veterinarian and they're a veterinarian and still are a veterinarian and they have one job. And for a lot of other people, it's, bouncing between a couple of different jobs, maybe figuring out, well, I want to do this for myself, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody got a different journey. What was your journey like leading up to doing what you're doing today?
I was the womb girl. I came out knowing what I wanted to do, which I was super thankful for, because you see the people like just trying to navigate and figure that out. And that was one thing that I had figured out that I didn't have to like navigate in high school. But I think there's this long-standing joke in the profession that like we all come in with like past experiences that led us to this health profession. But I knew since a young age that I wanted to be a social worker. Like, mind you, I didn't know what a social worker was, and I absolutely did not know how much paperwork was involved. If I did, I think there would be some questioning. But like I always knew, I just didn't know what the title was. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I wanted to support people. I wanted to help people feel loved and safe and heard. And I wanted to prevent the suffering and the pain that people might be experiencing. And I think that kind of led me into the mental health field. And I had some amazing practicums. Like, I'm local, so I had some great practicums from our local hospitals and family health teams. And I volunteered with like Season Center for Grieving Children and David Busby. And so I just had some really great experiences that just compounded my like continued interest in this field for sure.
Very nice. No, both of those charities were partnered with the Season Center. So
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's so great. I said they have an amazing like training process too. Like I remember it's like a week long of really helping you navigate grief and understand it before they have you go in and support the family. So I can't that was years ago. Like aging myself over here, but I can't speak highly enough about them.
yeah, you're a stone throw as well from where I am right now. I'm right up at the hill, Livingston and Ferndale. So
Oh, perfect.
we're not too far, which is pretty
Nice
cool.
and close. Yeah. True neighbors.
Yeah, true neighbors. There you go. So are there any like myths or myth conceptions when it comes to your specialty?
Yeah, like I think just kind of what we talked about before, just around like I think media really portrays OCD to be a certain thing, and I think it's far different than that. And unfortunately, the way it's portraying in the media, and even just like I think a lot of professionals are lacking education around it as well, and it prevents people from accessing services because they don't realize that that's what they're needing, and that's what's happening for them. And there's actually studies show that people will go approximately 17 years with OCD before getting proper treatment. And time again, we have phone calls of people saying, I've been looking for support for this long and I haven't been successful, or treatment just makes me worse and I'm feeling hopeless and I don't know what to do. And I'm just struggling every single day. And I just want my life back. And unfortunately, that's a story we hear so frequently. Thankfully, like we treat ages 6 and up. And so we are seeing a lot more kiddos. So it is becoming more knowledgeable, and doctors and psychiatrists are becoming more educated as well. But yeah, there's quite a few myths, unfortunately, and misconceptions about OCD, and there's a lack of education. Like I went to the States to be trained in this treatment. Like there's not much here. Like the closest treatment facility is Sunnybrook, and that's 18 to 65 ages. So if you're under 18, like you're not getting much support, unfortunately. And even then, like Sunnybrook only has so much room, and you have to fit a certain criteria for that treatment. So yeah, there's definitely a lack of education and support out there. And yeah, I think it's just again, it's OC Awareness Week, so take the time to educate yourself. And like whether you hop on our social media pages, or the International OCD Foundation has an incredible amount of resources as well, just to educate yourself a bit more on like what is OC and how it presents. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Knowledge is power, right? Happy to see
Exactly. I always say that, but then when it comes to OCD, people want too much knowledge because they want too much certainty. So I always bite my tongue when I say that in treatment. But I absolutely, for this case, I agree.
Well, happy we could have you on and help you spread that message, especially on such an important week for you guys.
Yes, thank you.
So walking our path of life, as we kind of walk through it, you know, we're business owners, so work is not really work for us because business owners are super passionate about what they do. So we can fall victim to dumping in a lot of hours into doing what we're doing because it doesn't really feel like work, because we enjoy what we do. But finding I like to call it a harmony, not a balance, because it's never perfectly equal. But having that harmony between work and play is certainly something that I strive for, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well too, to live that healthy lifestyle. And so, when you're not working on or in your business, what does April like to do for fun?
Yeah, I think I love the word harmony. I think I am still trying to figure that out, to be honest. The pull is strong to get back into it all the time. But yeah, when I am able to pull away and like just to focus on myself, I love the downtime. Like I would like to say I love travel and things like that, which is true. I think it's like Vegas is probably my favorite place to go. But I'm not a huge drinker, and neither is my husband. So it's quite funny, but there's so much there and like so much to see and do. But honestly, I think my biggest thing is like the downtime. I love like hiking up Thornberry and Blue Mountain and walking through trails and going to the beach. And honestly, like my dog is like the best thing in the world. So I don't ever want to leave her. So I think travel's been nixed a little bit right now because I just want to be at home with my dog all the time. But yeah, anything I can do with her to go for walks and like take her swimming, that's my go-to, or like a hot tea on the couch, binge watching horrible reality TV is probably all of my tops.
Nice. What kind of dog do you have?
She's a Borador, so she's half Border Collie, half Lab. She's snoring next to me right now. She very smart dog, like outsmarts us all the time. Very chatty
I grew up with a
too.
Border Collie, so
Yeah.
I know them quite well.
They're beautiful dogs, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. I seem to get this. I don't know what I'm going to call this, but because it's a positive. But every time I get a dog, I always get it like the biggest of that breed. Like they seem to be monsters. So a Border Collie is supposed to be like 40 pounds. Even like the females get down to 35. Oversized male, creeps up into the upper 50s. My Border Collie ended up being like 60 something pounds. He was a big boy and super fast, but just a big dog, right? And Border Collies are suckies. They like to come up and they can almost be like a lap dog because at 40 pounds, it's not really a big dog. And so that was the dog I grew up with, and I have a 3.5-year-old Australian Shepherd. He's a red tri, and his mom was 40 pounds. His dad was 44. So the breeder's like, yeah, he's going to be, somewhere in there. I'm like, oh, great. Aussies are kind of small dogs, so that's kind of cool. Well, I guess medium-sized dog, like our Chihuahua. That's a small dog.
Yeah.
And he ended up being like 67 pounds. He's just this big lug of suck,
Aww.
So he thinks he's the small dog, and the small dog thinks he's the big dog. So of course, when he wants to get up on the couch, he just barrels you over. You got to watch him. He doesn't even know his own size. But he's a big sucky. We like doing a lot of the same things with our dogs. I took him when he was younger. We went backcountry camping, and he had turned out to be like a natural. Just absolutely born to be in there. It was so cool. I didn't have to watch him. He was off leash the whole time. He wanted to stay by me, and it was just so cool having him out there. Yeah, he just loved it. It was a cool thing. So we like to take the dogs camping in the summertime, and who knew? He turned out to be a snow dog. The guy loves winter. It's crazy. It's taking snows. He's always in there rolling around in the snow. He absolutely loves it when it's cold.
So does my dog. It's so funny, how much they love the snow. Just fetching it, rolling in it, digging in it. Probably nice and cool for them, I guess, But
we love our dogs. We love our pets, our animals. That unconditional love when you come home from work every single day. So they're chilling in the room next door. I have to isolate them in there. If they hear a car door, then it's like all hell breaks loose. But I think we'll be okay for the remainder of the show here.
Yeah, that's too cute. Yeah. If you come into my office, if you're ever in the office, there's a portrait of my dogs. You'll see the love.
Very cute. I'll have to stop in one time and say hello and get to meet you. Okay, so we walk our path of life. Everybody picks that. This is the path that we want to take, and we walk that path, and it's never truly linear. There's always things, life gets in the way. It'll sometimes throw hardships, it'll throw challenges at us, obstacles, things that we need to overcome. Sometimes there's tragedies that are involved, and some people experience those more than others. It's just the way that the deck of cards are dealt sometimes, fortunately or unfortunately. But I've always enjoyed this component to human beings and being oppressed by our ability to be able to overcome these. Mindset's a big thing with that, looking at the glass half full, trying to pull silver linings from things, because we have to move forward. That's life, despite whatever life decides to throw at us. So I wanted to ask if you've ever experienced a hardship, a life challenge that maybe you overcame, maybe made you better, maybe made you stronger, maybe you took some silver linings from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I'd say my biggest thing would be like I tragically and suddenly lost a close friend about a year ago, actually. She was like a childhood friend, set to be a bridesmaid in my wedding that had just passed. So it was like, very big loss. And I think just when you're trying to run a business and you're trying to show up for clients every day in therapy, like, of course I took time off, but grief is something that's like hard to understand, and everyone grieves differently, and you think you're okay to return, but you're never. It just hits you like a ton of bricks randomly, right? And I think as a helper too, it's hard to turn off outside of work. And so you have all these other people mourning around you because you share friends, and that person was special to all of you. So I think that's like, yeah, you're showing up for everyone else around you. You're trying to show up for your clients and put all of your stuff in a pretty little box before you walk into the room, while also running a business. And it was amazing to see how the grief showed up for me and how it impacted my work, on the business side of things. I think I'm pretty good at throwing things in a box and showing up for my clients. But when it came to like memory around business aspects of things, I was certainly dropping the ball. And I think all of this was just a reminder of like, I need to practice what I preach and I need to take time for myself. And it is finding a balance of taking care of yourself, because there's never going to be like the to-do list is never done. Right. And I think it's like, when I just finish this, then I'll take care of myself. But it's like, that never happens. And so it's recognizing that and knowing that the to-do list can just sit there. And you got to take care of yourself. And again, I have to practice what I preach. I think the big thing that I think it just made me recognize how much I love my career path and how thankful I am for it is that, like, obviously my clients weren't fully aware of what I was carrying. But it's amazing how much they showed up for me in ways they didn't realize. And I think it just goes to show, when you go into a room in like this therapeutic relationship that you build with your clients and you share in conversation and laughter and humor, which I love to bring into my sessions, it just, and again, because I'm showing up with my authentic self, I think it just opens me up to embrace that laughter and that humor in times where I am struggling in my own life. And yeah, it just makes me super thankful for what I do, because even though the person across from me might not know what I'm dealing with, I think there is this like therapeutic piece that happens for everyone in the room, just by sharing laughter and conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Those are all things that give you that shot of dopamine. Humor can be such a good tool for a lot of different things, especially in a time for grieving period. And like we were talking about, right, the mindset of keeping a positive attitude, trying to find the positives. A lot of time through losing somebody and being thankful for what we have and reflecting on those can go a long way to help a human being move forward after something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, we're all human, right? And I think it's important to recognize that. And yeah, life is a journey, and it certainly has some, big losses and some big hardships and difficulties along the way, for sure.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem.
What's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
That's a great question. I think it's just recognizing that, I'm trying to think on how, like, I guess just we get it. Like, we know what OC is all about. And I know I haven't talked much about like the body focused repetitive behaviors or the tics. But in especially children who experience OCD, about 50% of them will experience tic-like behaviors. And again, like the body focused repetitive behaviors, all of those we specialize in. But I think it's just recognizing we get it, we understand it. Like, we get the harm thoughts, we understand the sexual thoughts, the symmetry, the hoarding, the contamination, like the list goes on, and it presents differently for everybody. But we get it, we understand it. Like, you're not going to scare us with the thoughts that you might be having. And I do, like, we go through the limits of confidentiality at the beginning of every session, which is just practice anyways. But we just always explain that there's so much more. Like, if you were to share any of these scary thoughts that you're having, like, we understand there's a difference between OCD, and like you truly being a concern of safety to yourself or others. And I just like to share that, because I think a lot of people, like, there's these taboo thoughts that OC brings forward, and they're debilitating and they're absolutely terrifying, because again, OC goes against, it's egotistonic. So it pulls on things that it goes against your values in order to latch on. And so we understand that. And so we're not scared of the thoughts that you bring forward. We assess thoroughly and talk about them, and we're very familiar with them. And I just like to share that so that, my hope is that people will feel comfortable coming forward, and not continue to essentially like suffer in silence with these really scary thoughts that they're dealing with.
Yeah. You mentioned the word, was it tics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is that?
So tics are like involuntary movements. Like someone with Tourette's, for example, experience tics. So you can have vocal tics, physical tics. So they're known as involuntary movements that are happening. So like arm movements, or like, again, like the vocal, like clicking or head tilting, are just some of many that could be happening. So we talk about treatment that allows for competing responses to help reduce those and really have a tick-friendly environment. The more we welcome them in, the less likely they're going to show. It's kind of like trying to fight it away. I think that's with a lot of the treatment we do. I don't know if you've ever heard of someone say, like, don't think about the purple elephant. And they tell you for a minute, just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Like your brain is going to think about it. And so it's us just trying to being like, yeah, the purple elephant can come in. I don't care. I'm not going to give it attention. And eventually it goes away. We stop thinking about it. Right. And so that's a lot of that with like the tics, where it's like, yeah, you can be here if you want. But we just, because tics are so disruptive in someone's life, we try so hard to control them and push them away that it just makes them flare up even more. So that's another thing that we certainly specialize in, because again, OCD doesn't travel alone. So you often will see tics or body focused repetitive behavior or trauma. Anxiety and depression often go hand in hand, because if your life is being controlled by the OCD, of course, there's going to be depressive moods happening for you as well.
Okay. Good information to know. Very educational. Learned some things today.
Yes.
So
yeah, I will nerd out. I'm trying to hold back as much as I can.
Well, no, I mean, that's what we want, right? Showcase that knowledge level and share some of that information for people. It's not until you hear something and think for yourself, well, yeah, I might need to have a conversation because this part, I'm not happy with this part or what's going on here. And it's through that info gathering where we're able to help people get through what they need to get through, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I'm sure there are some people who are for sure interested in wanting to reach out and learn a little bit more. And for those who are, what would be one of the best ways they can go ahead and reach you?
Yeah, so on our website, you can contact us directly. So the www.ocd-wellness.com. We also, like, our phone number is on there. We have our info at ocd-wellness.com, email as well. Lots of different avenues. We also have an Instagram. It's oc.wellness. Someone totally stole the dash before we got to it. So yeah, lots of different avenues, whether it's through social media, a phone call, our website, and email. You can give us a call. You can either sign up for your session right away for that treatment. There's myself and a couple other clinicians, or we can have a 15-minute consult just to answer further questions you may have about the services we offer as well. So super laid back. Like, what you're hearing from me now is what you get on the call. It's what you get in the session. I am me fully in session. I make mistakes all the time, and I laugh and I joke. I'm not I absolutely use evidence-based, and I'm super professional, and I hold back on the humor if it's not appropriate. But this is what you get in session, just to give you a heads up.
Beautiful stuff. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're
and
welcome.
Happy OC Awareness Week.
Happy OC Awareness Week.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.